Hey everybody, David Morrison back with another Tennessee football opponent preview, and it's one of the big rivals here, the Florida Gators. Tennessee will take on Florida on October the 12th, the second Saturday in October at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. This will be the first home game Tennessee would have after back-to-back road games at Oklahoma and Arkansas since will be September 14th. So almost 1 month Tennessee would not be home due to road games or a bye week. So big time game here as usual. 2 years ago, the Vol Society crew was in Knoxville, college game day, and all that stuff, and it was an exciting game that Tennessee won. And then the next year, Tennessee went to the Swamp and took a big L in that one. So uh, series ships back to Knoxville. I'm kind of glad with this revamped SEC, no more division plays, that Tennessee and Florida is still on our schedule, and hopefully in the years to come. And I mentioned in the Oklahoma video, it's weird not opening SEC play against Florida. This is now our third SEC game of the year, and it's against Florida for a team that we normally open the season against. In 2014, we didn't open the season against them. And then obviously 2001 and 2020, we played them in December due to national crisis that went on in our country. Uh, but anyways, previewing Florida last year with Billy Napier's second year, 5-7, 3-5 in SEC play. Started out the season, fairly hot, but then this totally cooled down towards the end. Graham Mertz returns back at quarterback. Played 11 games, had really kind of a solid season for the Gators, over 2,900 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, but ended up getting hurt in the Missouri game and was done for the rest of the year. They do have a backup quarterback that Gator fans are very excited about, and DJ Lagway. Probably see DJ Lagway play a little bit, maybe like in Wildcat packages or special plays for him. So we'll see there. Florida does lose their talented running back, Trevor Etienne. He's now at Georgia. But Montrell Johnson does return back for the Gators. They do, as far as wide receivers go, they lose Ricky Pearsall to the draft. He's now at the Niners. But they do return back Eugene Wilson and Khalil Jackson for the Gators. 3 offensive linemen return back for Florida. Defensive line, really solid. Tyreek Sapp, Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks. They do have a linebacker returning in Shamar James, and then a couple of guys returning from the secondary. Florida, has the hardest schedule in college football this season. They're, taking on 3 of the top teams in the state of Florida, Miami, UCF, and Florida State, on the same season. And by the time Tennessee and Florida plays on October the 12th, the Gators have already played 4 home games: Miami, Sanford, Texas A&M, and UCF, and then they would have a road trip to Mississippi State mixed in there. So this is kind of a grueling schedule, but like I said, games like Miami and UCF, they do have them at home, and Florida does play a whole lot better at home than they do on the road. So that, like I said, it does give us an advantage in that one. For Tennessee and Florida, this is going to be a very high emotional game as usual. Last year ended ugly at the end with the fight, and Tennessee taking the loss and just kind of derail that season. And like I said, with Tennessee up to this point, you've already been battle tested with a lack of an NC State and Oklahoma, and a little bit with Arkansas. So this is, like I said, talking in that Oklahoma game, if Tennessee goes to Oklahoma and picks up a win, this definitely opens this up as an easier win. But if you take a loss at Oklahoma, this is now becomes a must-win game for the most part. And still, even with the win at Oklahoma, I still think this is still a must-win game. I just think Tennessee has way too much talent than Florida at this point. And for Tennessee, we always play a very close game with Florida. Even with the win 2 years ago, you had that big lead, and then Florida came roaring back and had that recovered the onside kick, but just could not convert at the end. Tennessee pulls away with the win in that one. And last year it was just all Florida. So we'll see what happens in this one. It's always a tough game. It's always an emotional game. A lot of excitement. Going to have a great crowd in Neyland Stadium. And like I said, Tennessee trying to continue the pace in the run for the SEC. All right, we'll continue with our preview in the next video. And this is David Morrison, and